to E2, all eyes are on the showgrounds for the eagerly anticipated clash between Sligo Rovers and league leaders Shamrock Rovers in Airtricity League Live with Peter Collins.
On Tuesday, Sligo Rovers stayed in the title chase with a well-earned draw against fellow contenders Derry City. While at Tallaght Stadium, Shamrock Rovers had to come from behind against Dundalk to salvage a point. Billy Dennehy getting the last gasp equaliser for the league leaders. This evening on Airtricity League, live from the showgrounds, it's Sligo Rovers against Shamrock Rovers. And when we look at the Premier Division table, you can see just how important this evening's game is. Shamrock Rovers are still top, but St Pat's, who host Bray tonight, have closed to within a single point after their 2-0 win over Galway United on Tuesday. Derry City are third, level on points with Sligo Rovers. Bray, with a game in hand, are now in fifth place. Good evening and you're very welcome to the programme, and with me in studio to assess the championship mettle of both sides is Johnny McDonnell, and I don't think I'm overstating it, Johnny, by saying this really is a crucial game, particularly because Shamrock Rovers now are under a little bit of pressure with Pats having closed so close to them. Yeah, but it's a great opportunity also for Sligo. A great chance for him to get 3 points tonight and be on the coattails of Shamrock Rovers, and it looks it's an intriguing game with the two lineups. It looks really good. Well, they've had plenty of encounters this season, but Shamrock Rovers have held the upper hand in all four, both in the league and in the Setanta Cup. How can Sligo Rovers get the better of Shamrock Rovers on this occasion? I'm looking at the attacking, it looks like a really strong attacking formation. It looks like they're going to play 4-2-3-1 in an attacking formation. Blinkhorn up there is number 9, a big, strong, old-fashioned centre forward, good in the air, good target man, can hold the ball up really well and bring people into play. And I think he'd be a handful for the two centre-halves of Shamrock Rovers. I think also the creativity of Joseph and Alan Kirby around the edge of the box, there'll be lots of combinations. So if Sligo can get the ball up there early around the edge of the box, I think they'll have a really good chance at breaking down the Rovers' defence. Yeah, it is a very attacking formation that Sligo have gone with tonight. On the other hand, do you think that maybe the Shamrock Rovers formation is a little bit defensive? Well, it looks like Rice and Turner could be two sitting midfielders and O'Neill up top. Completely different to Blinkhorn as a centre forward. Yeah. Gary, he'd be more coming short for the ball, dropping, getting her into his feet. Rovers will be strong on both flanks. Yeah. I think McCabe and then he will be strong. With Sligo attacking, Kane and Green getting forward, there could be space in behind Sligo as well. So that's probably where Rovers might get in against Sligo Rovers as well. As Shamrock Rovers can get in behind them there. But, it's going to be tight. The games have been tight enough, and I think it's raining down there below, so it looks like it's going to be a good game. Both teams are going to try and play football, but definitely Sligo Rovers, good attacking formation. Rovers, typical away formation, looking to get something out of the game. Yes, there is no doubt about it. As far as this season's league campaign is concerned, this really is one of the most crucial fixtures so far. The complexion of the Premier Division table could change quite dramatically depending on the results around the league tonight. And they're almost ready to go in Sligo, so let's go over there and join our commentary team at the showgrounds. It's Pat Morley and Stephen Alkin.
And as you can see, there's a lot of Shamrock Rovers fans who've made the journey from Dublin. It's a very wet evening here in the showgrounds, and this is a match that's always very atmospheric. Shamrock Rovers against Sligo Rovers, and Sligo Rovers love that visit. Michael O'Neill under pressure, of course, because of dropping 2 points on Tuesday. And Alan Kirby, what a great old stager he has been. 3 FAI Cup medals in his locker, and now doing great things for Sligo Rovers. And he comes into this Sligo Rovers team that makes 2 changes from the side that drew in Derry. Irla Davern failed the fitness test, so Aaron Green will continue at left back. Owen Doyle stays in the left of midfield, and Joseph Endo returns to the team to play alongside captain Richie Ryan in the middle. Michael O'Neill's reaction to dropping 2 points at home to Dundalk is to make 4 changes. Murray, Finn, O'Donnell and Twigg are all dropped to the bench. In come Craig Sives at centre-half, Stephen Rice and Chris Turner in the middle, and Conor McCormack in the midfield holding role. So a lot of changes for Shamrock Rovers, Pat Morley, and that's one of the real interesting things going into this match.
Yeah, amazing, Stephen. I mean, when we came here tonight and we see both sides, you'd be sort of saying it's going to be an absolutely cracking game of football with a lot of attacking football. But there's obviously reasons behind both. And when you look away Sligo, like both teams seem to have an awful lot of forward players, so it should be very, very attacking and could be a very, very open game.
Craig Sives, who missed the start of the season because of a hamstring injury, and he's made quite an impact since he has come back in. Dan Murray dropped to the bench. Of course, Ronan Finn, who made such a spectacular start to his Shamrock Rovers career, he's on the bench as well. And Gary Twigg with 54 league goals in 2 years. He is surplus to requirements tonight. Anthony Buttimer will be our referee tonight from Cork. Very experienced official. Just getting the handshakes from the respective managers. Hopefully the game will be played in a good spirit. We're certainly looking forward to this. It's the famous green and white hoops of Shamrock Rovers against the all red of Sligo Rovers. And what a pity, it's been a pest of a day in the northwest, raining since about 11 o'clock this morning, and that's probably reduced the attendance somewhat. But we're ready to go on what is probably the best playing surface in the league, and credit there has to go to the Sligo Rovers groundsman Joe Cleary of Cleary Landscaping, who have done a fantastic job here over the last 2 years to make this probably the best surface in the country. So it'll be Sligo Rovers playing with the wind in the first half, attacking the goal away to the right. And Stephen Rice, who has the captain's armband for Shamrock Rovers today, gets it back to Manus, who made a complete hash of that clearance. Just the kind of mistake you'd expect in wet conditions like this.
Absolutely, and he won't thank his back four for that, because it's the one thing you don't want to get early on in the game is a ball back to you like that, and he's totally miskicked it.
Owen Doyle, who was a Shamrock Rovers player just a few years ago, playing wide on the left. Now it's Joseph Doe all the way back to McGuinness, the former Bohemian, and Richie Ryan was dispossessed there by Rice, and it was Gary O'Neill coming through the middle, but great covering by McGuinness, who spotted the danger. Blinkhorn with the chest down to Doe, who will have licence to go forward. Interesting selection for Sligo Rovers is this man, Aaron Green, number 22, who will get forward from the left-back position. Was a striker, of course, with Bohemians and Galway United, but he's filled in at left-back for Sligo.
Absolutely, and he'll want to go forward all the time, obviously with Devlin out, but I mean the great thing as well, he's got Owen Doyle in front of him, who's another striker, so when you see Doyle on one side, Cretara on the other side with Blinkhorn, surely to get balls off and good balls in the box, and should cause a lot of problems for Shamrock Rovers tonight.
I was speaking to Paul Cook before the game, and he would have preferred to have played Davron. He wanted to play Doyle through the centre because Doyle is his top scorer, and he wanted to play Aaron Green on the left side of midfield, but unfortunately, because Davron is injured, he's put the very attack conscious Aaron Green at left back, but that could be of benefit to Shamrock Rovers. Gary O'Neill, the lone front man for Rovers, took it down well, but it's back with Sligo again, and Alan Keane to Rafa Cretara, who got his very first league goals of the season in his last match against UCD. Flicked on by Enda Stevens. Chris Turner gives it away to Alan Kirby. Gets it back from Cretara. The players almost touching distance away from us, down below us here. Good cross by Keane, but nobody getting forward. Alan Keane, who likes to get forward from right back, and was involved in the goal that gave some silverware to Sligo Rovers last season. His cross to Blinkhorn gave them a 1-0 win over Monaghan United, the first trophy for Paul Cook.
Interesting start though, a lot of pace in the game, and they're really trying to up the tempo, and as you can see with Rovers, I mean Gary O'Neill is playing up front of his own, so both the two midfielders are trying to get up to him, but in fairness to Sligo, they're pushing a very high line at the moment.
Big kick into the wind by Manus. Tears got the better of O'Neill, but not without pulling the Shamrock Rovers forward down.
Yeah, it's a small bit of a arm around the neck there, but what'll be interesting here, will Rovers send any centre-halves up, and it looks like they are. I mean, both boys are going up, so that's an interesting ploy already from Michael O'Neill to send both of them coming up, so obviously wants to try and go win the game as well.
Number 4 is Sives, number 17 Ken O'Man. Two big men going forward for Shamrock Rovers to join Gary O'Neill in the centre, and Chris Turner and Billy Dennehy. Conor McCormack standing over the free kick, which was held up in the breeze, attacked by McGuinness. Not properly cleared though by Sligo Rovers. Chance for Dennehy, good block though by Curtaro. And it's Ryan who tried to clear it away, still in play. Good skill by Dennehy, the man from Tralee, but it's gone behind for a goal kick. So Shamrock Rovers not short in sending players forward.
Yeah, I mean, his chance. You can see the surface is slippy. Then he's tried to get down. I mean, it's not a bad first touch, but the ball is so high. And again, he's worked very, very hard to get it back. So Richie Ryan was clever. He didn't throw in a stupid free kick and give away a penalty.
Well, Peter Collins was saying earlier that all 4 games between these sides this season have gone the way of the side in green and white hoops. 2 in the Setanta Cup and 2 in the league. So Sligo Rovers haven't had any joy against Shamrock Rovers since they beat them on penalties in the cup final last November. McCormack, very skillful player, took that down well. Gets it back from Oman, but he's given it away to Curtaro. Now Kirby, evading the challenge and finding Doe. Held off Rice nicely. Cross it goes to McCormack. Played out early to Owen Doyle. Tried to get inside Pat Sullivan. And the former Cork City man committing the foul. Free kick to Sligo.
And this could be very, very dangerous. I mean, again, there's Doyle at his best, takes it inside, draws the free kick, and this is where it'll be very, very interesting. The wind is coming right to left as we look at it, and if Endo can put a very good ball into the box with a bit of pace and leave Civez...
Right to left, it's left to right,
Left to right,
Pat.
apologies,
left
Stephen.
To right.
Left to right, apologies, Stephen. Here's the ball.
Here comes Indo's free kick. Oh, Pearse was nearly on the end of that. And just behind him, Matthew Blinkhorn. So nearly the lead goal for Sligo Rovers. It was a really good free kick, but Pearse couldn't get there.
Marvellous ball in, great pace. You can see it there. Pearse there. I mean, we've seen that so many times before. So it's a training ground move. And look at that. I mean, that's a great chance.
Joseph Indo, the man 21 times capped by Cameroon, and he always delivers superb free kicks like that. Breeze really holding up that kick out by Manus. Through the centre for Dennehy, tied it up by Keane. Back to his goalkeeper Brendan Clark, the former Sporting Fingal custodian, who is keeping Kieran Kelly out of the side. McCormack might have used his arm there, but no free kick. So far this has been a very bright and inventive game, and it's Kirby with Doyle making the run inside. Across came Stephen Rice to make the tackle. Kirby making it difficult for Rice to get it away. And Doe closing in on this, but Turner won that battle. And now it's Doyle who goes down, tackled by Ken Oman. Free kick to Sligo, and this one in a very dangerous central position with the wind behind them.
Absolutely, and again it's Owen Doyle, you know, lovely, little bit tricky, great foot, close control, nicks the pass, gets the free kick. Fine Paul Cook as a manager be saying, get the ball to him all night, the way he started off.
And noticeable how Owen Doyle has gone inside a couple of times to a more central position alongside Blinkhorn. Despite the awful conditions, the Sligo Rovers fans behind that goal are really cheering on their side, which is great to see. Lots of encouragement for Joseph Indo to strike one towards goal here. Manus crouches and waits. Indo comes up, not the best of free kicks, straight into the feet of Dennehy. And now it's McCabe, the former Sligo Rovers player. He'll get boos all night every time he touches the ball. Good closing down by Blinkhorn to prevent Oman from getting it away.
Poor free kick by Joe Ndo. Here's the, I mean, that's Blinkhorn at his best, you know, he's closing down there and he's back in the side, so he obviously has a point to prove as well.
Flicked forward by Ryan off the head of Oman. Civez should be able to deal with this, waiting for Manus to come, and he does. Alan Manus, the Canadian-born Northern Ireland international, 29 years old now. He's made that #1 jersey his own at Shamrock Rovers. McGuinness just got there, cleared by Sullivan, but look at the wind take that ball back towards the Rovers goal, over the head of Civez. Really the onus on Sligo Rovers to really press Shamrock Rovers back with the elements in their favour. Pearse was holding onto the shirt of O'Neill there, should have been a free kick. Flicked on by McCormack to Civez, or to Oman rather. And now Alan Keane showed too much of that to Dennehy, who has switched wings with McCabe. Dennehy has come to the left side, McCabe has gone to the right, which is more natural for both of them. They're on their more natural wing side now. Curtaro made a big challenge there. or a big dive rather. It wasn't a free kick. McCormack didn't commit the foul. Now Green to Doyle, and on goes Green with some space. The early cross looking for Blinkhorn, sliding in was Sives to clear, and now it's Turner. Good ball to pick out McCabe. Some space perhaps for Shamrock Rovers, but Endo got his body in the way. Exciting football from both sides so far. Sullivan's ball kept in by O'Neill, laid off by Turner. And back it goes to Sullivan, blocked out of play by Owen Doyle.
It's great football by Sligo, and it's a lovely first time ball by Aaron Green, and he's just looking for Blinkhorn to get in front, and it's Ken O'Man, I think, has just made a very, very good defensive tackle, but it's just great pace by Sligo at the start.
Doyle flicking it on to Blinkhorn, who'll hold it up well. Through the centre goes Doyle, he was onside. Ken O'Man got there for Rovers. Down goes O'Neill, but there's no foul. And it's McGuinness to Cretaro, and it's Keane bursting forward from right back to get up on the overlap. Cretaro, though, trying to switch it to Doyle, who's playing down the centre. Cleared away by O'Man. Turner did well to dispossess Endo, but now Pearce beaten to it by Dennehy. And Dennehy having his... Well, he had a shot from the edge of the box, and he knows he should have done better. He's in great goal-scoring form, but he couldn't find the target.
Yeah, wrong place to be doing it. Gavin Pearce not there. Billy Denny never looked up. Look, and you got it. Keeper's off his line. If he looked up, little dink. That's stupid there by Gavin Pearce, though. And there's Billy Denny, just a small little lift of the head, and he's just totally miskicked it.
Dennehy with 4 goals in his last 5 games. He's made quite an impact recently for Rovers. Headed away by Stevens. Both stands well populated, but not too many fans choosing to stand out in the rain in this most inclement late June Friday evening. Endo looking for Blinkhorn. Ken O'Man cleared. Pearce with the header. Blinkhorn under pressure, did well. Lovely flick. Kirby, this is good play by Sligo, but well played also Chris Turner, breaking up that promising Sligo attack. Header from McGuinness. Turner. O'Neill went down far too easily there. As soon as he felt contact, and the referee wasn't fooled. Well done, Anthony Buttermer. Sullivan. Into the feet of McCabe. This is Dennehy. Aaron Green was close. The linesman had a very good view of that, but he didn't flag. And that's gone out of play of Craig Sives.
It's interesting what Rovers are trying to do, though. On 1 minute, Billy, then he's on the wide in the left, and the next minute he's wide in the right. So he seems to be given a free roll to do what he wants. And again, that can be very dangerous if you're going to have the 2 lads on the right hand side of the park here, Cretaro and Keane, being given the space to expose that.
Doyle holding off the challenge of Sives, finding Richie Ryan, who's been quiet so far. Lovely passer of the ball, though, and Keane will be able to keep this in with Cretaro. Back to Keane. Strong challenge, wins it back for Rovers. Enda Stevens coming in, perhaps with the studs showing.
Yeah, there it is again. I mean, he's won the ball first, and you know it's a Rovers throw, no argument.
The only question there was whether the referee would give a free kick for the style of the challenge. Blinkhorn was looking for a free kick, but he didn't get it. Ken O'Man gets it back to Alan Manus. Now the pressure applied by Kirby, but a little bit too late. McCormack's header. He'll win those battles all day against the diminutive Gary O'Neill. Cretaro, good movement again by Keane. Sligo looking promising, but they need some kind of end product. Cretaro. Endo. Blinkhorn. Needed somebody to run off the ball. Kirby didn't get there quick enough, and it's O'Man who cleared to Turner. The space down the right for McCabe, and that's a good ball from Gary O'Neill. Shamrock Rovers with 3 forward, but Sligo have 4 back. And it's McCabe taking on McGuinness. Down he goes looking for the penalty, and again the referee wasn't fooled, but Shamrock Rovers will certainly think they should have got something there.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's what's happening. I mean, Gary O'Neill is going to be a pivotal role for Rovers tonight. McCabe is broken. He's got into the box. He's done a little bit of a jig. I don't think it's a penalty. I think the referee's got it correct. We see it again here. I mean, it's a bad ball. It's been intercepted, and he's just left it off. And here, the issue you have with it, Stephen, is that if McCabe is going to get into the box in these areas, they've got to hold their feet, and if they don't, he's going to go down. And
of course, Gary McCabe, who scored a penalty for Sligo Rovers against Shamrock Rovers in the Cup final last November. Here's the incident again.
It's gone down, it's too soft. Correct decision by the referee, and well done.
Absolutely. So far, Anthony Buttermer has got everything right. But there's a wonderful atmosphere here. There's a real frisson between the two sets of supporters. The Shamrock Rovers fans down below us, and the Sligo fans behind the goal, and obviously over there in the main stand. Paul Cook, will he be satisfied with what he's seen so far?
I think he'll be delighted at the start, because it's been a high tempo for them. I think what they're going to be very disappointed about is when they've got into positions to put a quality ball in or lay a ball off, they haven't done it, and the free kick from Endo was appalling.
O'Neill with no space to work in, and he got the free kick. The tackle a little bit over robust. I think it was Jason McGuinness who brought him down. Shamrock Rovers, with the best defensive record away in the league, just conceded 4 goals against Sligo Rovers, who have the best defensive record at home in the league. They've just conceded 4 goals as well. But Sligo have lost a couple of games here, one to Shamrock Rovers and one to Bohemians. In comes the free kick. Oh, that was dangerous because Sligo just didn't get there. And here's Endo finding Green. Dennehy with a fine block. He's become a really good player for Shamrock Rovers, Billy Dennehy, the man from Tralee.
He's doing a lot of work, an awful lot of work. When you see him back here making a tackle in the left full position, over there making a tackle on the Sligo left full position. Incredible energy.
Tried his luck in England with Sunderland and Accrington Stanley, but unfortunately didn't make it over there. But that's Shamrock Rovers' gain. Green cleared it quickly. Oman sends it back. This is Turner, likes to have a go from long range. Ryan tidies up for Sligo. Now Alan Keane with some space. Kirby holding off Rice. Keane again. Lots of space here for Jason McGuinness. Really good signing for Paul Cook. And the mistake made by Joseph Endo, and it's Chris Turner who wins it back for Rovers. Now Gary O'Neill and Stephen Rice. Oh, excellent interception by Aaron Green, who got back just in time. McCabe was in a very strong position. Oh, a little slip from Rafael Cotaro, and Stevens is blocked by Keane. Real manly stuff this. Down goes Cotaro. McCormick with the challenge, and it's the game's first yellow card. Now that's unusual. We haven't seen a really bad foul, but Anthony Buttermer deciding that this was worthy of yellow.
Yeah, I mean, the ball is... Cotara's actually lost control of it. The ball has come in. He's probably been booked there for just showing studs. I mean, he's probably a small bit unlucky, but I'm sure Anthony Buttermer has left a few go already tonight, and I think he's just sort of said to himself, look, I need to keep my stamp on this and make sure that it's not going to boil over. So it's probably a correct yellow card.
So that's the first intervention by the referee. On a night like this, there will be mistakes made by both sets of players. The pitch is very slippy, so let's hope he takes that into account. First goal of the night has been scored at Dalymount Park. It's Fagan for Bows. It's 1-0 against Drogheda. Bohemians 1, Drogheda United 0. Good ball forward by Gary O'Neill. McCabe stopped it from getting through to Dennehy, and now a yellow card for Gary McCabe, which the home fans are quite happy about. Must have been a handball on purpose, but was that worthy of yellow?
No, I think what's after happening there, Stephen, I think he's been given a yellow card for kicking the ball away, and I think it's very, very harsh. I mean, the whistle is gone, and he's probably knocked the ball back, and I think it's probably the base of 10-15 seconds. I just hope that doesn't come back to haunt the young lad later on in the game.
Down goes Richie Ryan. McCormick finding Dennehy. There's some news of an early substitution going to happen from Shamrock Rovers. Ronan Finn apparently being readied on the sideline. Haven't spotted anybody injured for Shamrock Rovers, but perhaps there is a problem for Chris Turner. Blinkhorn holding it up for Sligo. Sent forward. Doyle was battling there with Craig Sives. Well, Chris Turner He's gone down now to get the attention, and Turner, who came on as a sub in midweek, looks like he's not going to survive too long in this game. And Ronan Finn, one of the players that we expected to start for Shamrock Rovers, looks like he's going to get an early introduction, just 19 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, totally different substitute. I think what's happened with Chris Turner is the shot at goal he had a while ago, Stephen. He's had it, and I think he just pulled it, and it just might have caught a hamstring or a groin. But look what they're bringing in, Ronan Finn, probably one of the best midfielders in the league, and he'll definitely help Gary O'Neill, because he will push forward, and any opportunity that lad gets, he will go, especially with McCormack holding for him. So I think it's a very, very positive substitution, even though it's been enforced.
Michael O'Neill, who without any question has the best squad in the country, and every player on the Shamrock Rovers bench would get a job with any other side. Doyle, good block by Pat Sullivan. He's had a great season so far, finding McCabe, the cross, looking for Dennehy at the back post. It's gone beyond him, and back comes Rafa Cortaro to win it for Sligo. Cleared by Keane, Kirby and Rice under this. The flick on by Kirby, sent back by Ronan Finn. His first touch of the game. Manus gets it away. Game just starting to settle down. What we need are a few more goal mouth incidents. We've seen a lot of good football in the middle, but not much in the way of real goal chances. Good tackle by McCormack. Now it's Enda Stevens. Cultured left boot looking for Gary O'Neill, who was pushed to the back by Gavin Pearce. No free kick given. Anthony Buttimer doesn't give free kicks for players going down too easily, that's for sure. And now Cortaro taking on Stevens. And the young fullback did really well for Rovers there. Shamrock Rovers, that is. Here's Ronan Finn, and now Rice. And Sullivan. And nice feet from McCabe. Here's McCormack. Dennehy, better football from Rovers, they're holding on to it well. McCabe beaten by Pearce, and now Richie Ryan bumped off the ball by Stephen Rice. Free kick to Sligo. And here's some news from the sideline from John Kenny.
Michael, you've had to make the enforced change, Turner coming off, Finn going on.
Yeah, Kirsty's hamstring, just feeling that a bit there, so Ronan coming on. It's like for like, so shouldn't affect us too much. Pleased with how we've started and the conditions, and just got to keep the work rate and the energy there.
All right, thanks, Michael.
Well, approaching the midway point in the first half, a very dull evening in Sligo Rovers. Home grounds, the showgrounds, which has improved so much of late. Let's get a word of thanks in to Vincent Nally and all the people in the back room of Sligo Rovers for bringing us up a pot of tea and coffee before the game. It's just that kind of night, you feel like one of those.
Don't forget the queen cakes.
And of course the fairy cakes.
Yeah, the cupcakes.
Can't forget them. Still the wind blowing strongly from left to right, diagonally across the ground towards the far side. It's Sullivan with the throw-in, Endo gets his head to it. And Pat Sullivan, the former Cork City fullback, who's been one of Shamrock Rovers' best players this year. He started with the club as a schoolboy, then went off to Cork City and had some great days there, Pat, but now he's really doing well for Rovers once again.
Well, he's come back fantastically well after the cruciate operation he had last year, and you know, he's come back actually a far better player, and he's probably been one of Rovers' best players this year.
Cortaro to Keane, and look at the way Shamrock Rovers are pressing Sligo backwards. Cleared away by Brendan Clark. But neither goalkeeper has really had a save to make yet, and that's what this game requires. McCormack. Back to Manus. Blinkhorn trying to make it difficult for the Shamrock Rovers goalkeeper, but Endo wins it for Sligo. Stevens was pushing on Cortaro. Kennaman with the diagonal ball, and that's a great ball to pick out McCabe, who used his arm to protect that ball and to take it down. That's why the control looks so good. Well spotted by the assistant on the far side.
Ooh, high up in the chest from me. I mean, again, you've seen there Aaron Green. That's just a small little bit of rawness over there playing left full back when he normally doesn't play there. He got caught by the flight of the ball, which was a marvellous ball by Kennaman.
Finn finding McCabe. That cross much too close to Brendan Clark.
Again, your issue there with Rovers tactics, Shamrock Rovers tactics, that is when McCabe goes wide in the right there, he knocks the ball in the box and it's high in the air. Like, not being disrespectful to Gary Hill, but he's not going to win a header against McGuinness. So they've got to put it in with a bit lower and a bit more pace.
Good play between Kirby. And the cross cut out by Civez. Dennehy under pressure from Keane. And a complete miss kick by Ken Oman, but it's come to one of his own players, Dennehy. Stevens gets it away. There's no hanging around in this game, both sides really getting stuck in physically. And there's lots of very robust challenges. Mostly fair, it has to be said. That was brilliant by Joseph and Doe. What followed though, that's a Joseph and Doe moment of when we saw an absolutely brilliant tackle and then miss-kicking the pass.
Yeah, I mean, you've got both there. You've got the good and the bad. I mean, it's a great little tackle. He's just turned up, looked up, and he's tried to play a little ball with a bit of backspin on it, and it's just straight rose-ed.
Stevens looking for O'Neill, beaten by Pearce, flicked on by Ryan. McCormack, he looks composed in that defensive midfield role for Shamrock Rovers. And Doe has it back for Sligo Rovers. Richie Ryan, who's being very closely watched by Stephen Rice, and hasn't had much chance to get his influence in the game. He's usually a very good passer. That's a really good quick free kick, but Aaron Green was spotted by Pat Sullivan, and we have the game's first corner, and it's gone to Sligo Rovers.
Yeah, it's a great quick free kick, but Pat Sullivan was switched off. He's been arguing, he's had his back turned, and again, you just look at Aaron Green there, and all he had to do was leave the ball, run past him, and put a ball in the box, and he let Pat Sullivan get back.
There's the the Sligo Rovers faithful behind the goal away to the right. And there's 6 Sligo Rovers players in the box, and Richie Ryan just outside it as Doe sends in this corner. It's a really good one. Manus couldn't keep a hand on it. Unfortunately for Shamrock Rovers, the second ball came to one of theirs. But here's Rafa Kotaro. Cross was deflected. Cleared away by Civez. Flicked on by Dennehy. Jason McGuinness with plenty of time to pick out Alan Keane. Doyle and Blinkhorn are in the box. Here's Blinkhorn. And now Aaron Green, great block. What a block by McCormack. Complete commitment by the diminutive Shamrock Rovers midfield player. That was excellent. Ryan gets it back to McGuinness. Looking for the feet of Blinkhorn, but the zippy nature of the pitch meant he couldn't get there. What a block by McCormack.
Yeah, fantastic block. But again, it's a great block. But even before that, the corner kick, a marvellous corner kick. I mean, the ball is coming in with pace, and it's Pearce again that's flying in, and he's totally sort of onside the Manus, and no one is there for the drop down. But it's obviously a sort of a thing that they're obviously working in practice, and Pearce is coming in, and you can see him scoring from set pieces every time, Pearce.
Well, that clearance from Ken Oman was just too much for Enda Stevens to deal with. Throw-in goes to Sligo Rovers, who have won their last 5 home league games in a row. 14 goals scored and just 1 against. That's impressive home form, and that's why they've moved up to 4th in the table. And they've got a couple of matches coming up that they'll be hoping to do well in as well, with games against Bray, Drogheda United and Galway, their next fixtures. Shamrock Rovers, for their part, having drawn at home twice recently, their next games are against St. Pat's and Derry, 2 of the top sides, so Shamrock Rovers will be hoping to get something from this.
Yeah, marvellous pressure here. Look, Owen Doyle, I mean, he's putting them under severe pressure. And Civez is a lucky boy to get away with that, because he was on the verge of losing it, and to get a throw in his own area from where he was is a good out.
The wind helping Sligo Rovers to pin Shamrock Rovers back into that corner of the pitch. The towering McGuinness heads it away. And John Kenny he'll be with us shortly with an interview with one of the notables on the sideline. Blinkhorn gets the flick, looking for Kirby. Now McCormack. And here's Enda Stevens. Keane with the header inside. Gary O'Neill just slipped, otherwise he might have got to that. And Indo tidies up. Back to Brendan Clark. Blinkhorn's flick on. Doyle is in chase. Cross goes Civez. Craig Civez, born in Edinburgh, a man who spent most of his career in Scotland. Now Ken O'Man. Terrible ball that. The distribution by the Shamrock Rovers centre-backs has not been the best, particularly Ken O'Man.
Not at all, but I mean, again, you're looking at Gary Neal up front in his zone. It's a loneless task, and he's just running, and he's not going to win headers. Whereas we look at Blinkhorn up front, when the ball is knocked up to him, he can either flick it on or hold it. So even in the second half, Sligo can use that tactic as well. It'll work for them.
Great tackle by McCormick again to dispossess Owen Doyle. Gary O'Neill back deep, looking to find some space, of which there is very little so far. And Pearce back to Clark. Lots of space here for Alan Keane. He's got nobody down the right-hand side though. It was Dennehy sliding in. Sligo fans wanted a free kick. And now Stephen Rice can take over for Shamrock Rovers. But he showed too much of that to Gavin Pearce, and he wasn't going to hang back on that tackle. John Kenny's on the sideline with Sligo Rovers assistant Jerry Carr.
Jerry, the commentator's making the point that you've had a lot of possession, but you're not turning that possession into goal chances.
Oh, we've been in the ascendancy, John. I think we're at it. We're squeezing the ball when they've got it. I think we're playing quite well. Obviously, the end product's all we're lacking at the minute. You know, there's been nothing too constructive in that regard, but we'll keep probing and keep trying to get one.
And the thing is, I suppose the key point from your point of view is that the fact you're pressurising Rovers into lots of mistakes.
Yeah, we've started very well. Look, it's a horrendous night for a game. You've seen that. There's going to be mistakes on both teams. It's obviously whoever makes the least mistakes and whoever can capitalise the other side. So we'll just keep going, and hopefully we'll get a little break that we deserve at the minute, you know.
All right, thanks, Jerry.
And just confirmation that there was a yellow card there on that last play before we heard from Jerry. It was Billy Dennehy who went in the book. So 3 Shamrock Rovers players booked in the space of 13 minutes. McCormick, McCabe and Dennehy. Laid off by Indo. Green looking for Blinkhorn. That was hit so far, so strongly he couldn't get his foot on it. And now Manus happy just to settle things down for Shamrock Rovers, who have so far defended quite well. There's been a couple of half breaks for Sligo, but no real chances for either side so far. Here comes Ronan Finn. Keane got the tackle in. Pearce to Green. The early ball always looking for Blinkhorn, but that time Civez had him in his pocket. Now Rice holding off Doyle, and it's Green asking a little bit too much of Blinkhorn, but he's going to chase for this because it's still in play and Manus has to do it. And that's a good clearance by the goalkeeper. Green got there first though. Rice laid off by McCabe to McCormick. O'Man to Civez, and back to O'Man, the former Bohemian. Ken O'Man, who's 28 now. Good header by Keane to Cotaro. Kirby tried to turn. Excellent challenge by Civez.
And he's let him know he's there as well.
Well, here's Billy Dennehy, the man who got booked just a couple of minutes ago. Cotaro, good block by Stevens. And that last touch, the Sligo man. Throw-in goes to Shamrock Rovers.
I mean, here's the booking for Billy Denny. I mean, he's come back, he's come in from behind. It's a tackle from behind, so probably by the rules of the law, it's a yellow card. And then the referee's tried to leave it go on. And in fairness to the referee, he's gone back to it and he's booked it.
Indo quickly closed down by Rice. Now Cotaro to Indo. Kirby. This is what Sligo need to do more of. Just keep the ball. Probe for the openings. That's a poor ball from Cotaro. Very optimistic, but he's got it back off Civez. Laid off by Doyle. Indo. Doyle popping up on the right side for the first time. Looking for Blinkhorn, who got there, but McCormick did enough. And Rice cleared. McGuinness, deft touch to Pearce. And again McGuinness, who's a big man showing really good footwork. Certainly the Sligo Rovers centre-backs are using the ball better than the Shamrock Rovers opposites.
an awful lot better, and they're making Gary O'Neill work very, very hard up there in his zone, and he's going to be absolutely shattered. So I'm sure it's something that maybe Michael O'Neill will have to look in the second half, because he's not going to, the way they're working at the moment with this one person up front, if Gary O'Neill's not going to hold the ball up, the whole plan has gone out the window, so he needs to probably rejig it at half time.
McGuinness getting the better of Finn. Keane. And Ken O'Mann happy to send it back to 29-year-old goalkeeper who made over 350 appearances for Linfield before he joined Shamrock Rovers. Here's Owen Doyle. One back by Rice. Gets it back from McCabe. Now McCormack. Man born in Dundalk. Spent 2 years at Old Trafford as a young man. Didn't make the grade there. Now Pat Sullivan clears. Absolutely no point in hitting high balls to Gary O'Neill when he's up against Pears and McGuinness. Sent back by Doyle to McGuinness. And Doyle again.
It's just pointless, Stephen. I mean, like, there's O'Neill. What is he? 5'8", 5'9". McGuinness 6'2", 6'3". You know, you got to give O'Neill balls like chest high or below.
Oh, Alan Keane got in there ahead of Stevens, and here's Keane again on his weaker left foot, but at least he forced the save from Manus. Though he had Doyle wide on the left, maybe he should have chosen that option.
Yeah, I never had a look at all. I mean, here it is again. I mean, he's turned around. He again is not even looking where the keeper is. Wrong leg. You know, Owen Doyle's outside on his stronger left foot, should have passed it.
Latest score, that looked like a handball from Blinkhorn. Latest score from Oriel Park. Dundalk have taken the lead, and it's the former UCD man Greg Bulger who's got that one. Dundalk 1, Galway United 0. The only other score, Bohemians 1, Drogheda United 0. Still waiting for our first real shot in anger here in the showgrounds, but it's been a very interesting match for all that. Lots of effort and endeavour by both sides. It's clearly a game between two of the top 4 sides in the league, and you have a feeling that this is the kind of game that might be just a slow burner. Furtaro has switched to the left-hand side. Kirby lifting it over the top, looking for Doyle, cleared away by Ken O'Mann. O'Neill got an important touch for Rovers. McCabe showed too much of it, but O'Neill has sent it forward again towards Ronan Finn, and Rovers, Shamrock Rovers, have got the throw-in.
The problem again for Rovers is Gary O'Neill is coming so deep now to try and get the ball, because when it's going up high he's not getting it, so when he comes so deep, balls will be knocked in where he should be, so he's back in midfield and there's no one making the run to where he should be.
And of course Shamrock Rovers do have Gary Twigg on the bench and Kieran Kilduff, a very tall striker, if they should want to change their tactics. Oh, here's a chance, but the flag was raised against Gary McCabe, whose volley was good. Keeper was forced to make a save, but the assistant spotted the offside.
It's a bit unlucky there, Gary McCabe. I mean, I think he's just come back from an offside position, and it was just a half turn, but the great thing for him is what Sligo Rovers switched off and he had a chance. Unfortunately he was offside.
Stevens header. Green had his hands on the back of Gary McCabe. You often see free kicks given for that. To be fair to Anthony Buttermer, he is really trying to let the game flow as much as possible. And that's what we want to see. In Doe. And now Gavin Pears, one of Sligo's longer serving players, this his 5th season here.
There you go. I mean, Pears has just looked up. Blinkhorn is up front, he's looking for the ball to feed, and Pears has just knocked one in the channels. And again, these are just simple things that you'd say Richie Reiner and Doe should be coming into midfield, picking up the ball and start playing little 1-2s inside, and they're not doing it, and that's where the game just is lacking a tiny bit at the moment. Yes, it's very high intensity, but it's just a bit of the close control in the middle of the park to create a little opening.
Keane's header, Doyle's flick on, Blinkhorn trying to find Kirby, and Civez puts it out of play.
That sums it up there.
Sligo Rovers have the throw, and there's good movement from Blinkhorn and Doyle. But Blinkhorn is rather isolated there. Doyle though has done well, getting it back to Keane. Blinkhorn stayed on side. The cross was deflected behind. It's a corner to Sligo Rovers. Sligo pushing to try and get what could be a very important lead goal here. Gavin Pearce and Jason McGuinness have gone into the penalty area. There they are on the left of screen. McGuinness, whose height could be very important here if the delivery is good. It's Joseph Doe to take it. It's a good ball in, it's there! And it's Pearce. Gavin Pearce gets the goal. It's the 39th minute, and it's Sligo Rovers who've made the breakthrough. And Paul Cook absolutely delighted. Shamrock Rovers going behind again. 2-0 down against Dundalk in midweek. They came back to draw. Here they've gone behind against a much better side. Could this be the crucial opener?
Again, marvellous corner kick. There's Pearce on mark and McGuinness on mark, and Shamrock Rovers just need to look back at the last 2 free kicks. Pearce was close to both of them. He does it every time he comes on television, Stephen. He's always there, and it's as simple as a header put into the corner. Deserve it. And I mean, look, what I would say is third time lucky. Marvellous goal, great corner kick.
His second league goal of the season. Gavin Pearce puts Sligo Rovers ahead, and how they would love the scalp of Shamrock Rovers here in the showgrounds. So Shamrock Rovers, who've dropped 4 points at home in their last 3 league games, now facing the prospect of having to come from behind for the second time in a week. 2 Mark Griffin goals for Dundalk had them in all sorts of trouble last Tuesday, but to be fair to the champions, they showed real tenacity and fighting quality to come back and get a very late equaliser from Billy Dennehy.
Absolutely, but there has to be a frustration there, Stephen. When Pearce is coming up like this so off of a corner kicks, and he's known to do that, you've got to put someone on him and mark him and stop these runs, balk him, do whatever, because twice he got close. And then it's going to happen, and he was going to score.
Sivas let that go. It's going to be a goal kick to Shamrock Rovers. The conditions not getting any easier as the night goes on, so it'll be just as difficult for Sligo in the second half defending against that breeze. One wonders if Gary Twigg will be a part of that second half, the man who has got 9 league goals for Shamrock Rovers this season, 24 in 2009, 20 in last year and 9 again this year, making a grand total of 53 league goals. An incredible tally for the Scottish striker. Joseph Doe making it difficult for Craig Sivas and forcing him to give the throw in to Sligo Rovers, who will push very hard now until half time. We've 5 minutes to the interval, and if they could get a second, well, that would really put the cat amongst the pigeons, as it were, at the top of the Electricity League. Shamrock Rovers just 1 point ahead of St. Pat's, don't forget. Derry and Sligo 5 points behind at the start of play today. The win for Sligo, and they would be very close to the top themselves. Last season, Paul Cook's side made a very slow start to the campaign. This year, they're several points better at this stage, so he'll probably think they're in pretty good shape to mount a championship challenge.
Look, this man has his head on his shoulders. I mean, a couple of weeks ago they played Pike Rovers in the Cup. They were very, very lucky. He came on television after, and he absolutely castigated his players, telling him, look, you've won nothing up here. So he knows what it's all about. I mean, you can see the way they've set up tonight, Stephen. They've worked extremely hard for each other, and what you said even a while ago with Joseph Doe running 30 yards to close down a ball just shows what they've done in the first half. But they need to carry it for 90 minutes.
More or less a full-time setup for both of these clubs. 2 of the more professional sides in the league. And when it comes for trophies to be handed out towards the end of the year, you'd expect these 2 sides to be right there. Sligo Rovers, of course, winners of the League Cup and the FAI Cup last season. Runners-up in the Setanta Cup and 3rd in the league against Shamrock Rovers, who obviously won the championship and narrowly lost the cup final. Of course, St. Pat's and Derry and other sides will have their own opinion about where the trophies are going to go this season. But it wouldn't surprise us if we saw these 2 winning something, if not everything. Keane looking for Blinkhorn. Kirby blocked by Rice. Ryan onto Kotaro. The 2 Sligo men through and through, exchanging passes. Ryan, of course, from Tipperary originally. Flick on there from Keane, but cleared away rather agriculturally by Ken O'Man. Any port in a storm when you're facing a gale, though.
Yeah, I mean, look, the two centre-halves have not got the grips of it in the last 10-15 minutes, and they've started to struggle a tiny bit at the back at Rovers, and I think Sligo could just squeeze it a tiny bit more for the last 2 or 3 minutes of the first half.
That was Quintaro trying to get forward. He's been fouled. It's going to be a free kick to Sligo Rovers. Forward come the big men.
Absolutely. I mean, here it is again. I mean, he's got inside. He's been dragged back, and it's a free kick, and a silly free kick, very close to half-time. And again, they need to pick up Pearce, and they've got to pick up McGuinness, and they've got to pick up Blinkhorn. And these are the people they've got to stop getting to this ball.
Alan Manus looking anxious. There's 3 Sligo Rovers players standing over this ball. Endo, Quintaro and Richie Ryan. Pearce, Blinkhorn and Jason McGuinness all awaiting this. Quintaro leaving it. Ryan takes it, curled to the far post, nobody attacking the ball. McGuinness didn't really get after it, and Blinkhorn had run to the near post.
Yeah, that's poor, you see. I mean, Richie Ryan, maybe he's gone for goal there, but they've caused Shamrock Rovers so much trouble in the last 3 or 4 set pieces. All you're looking at, and there's Pearce again going far post, unmarked. I know the ball has gone out, but again, you just want to put it into the danger area because they're nervous there, and it's a poor free kick by Richie Ryan.
Well, the final minute of the first half. This first half that has flown by pretty much without creating, as we said, too many chances. It's still been interesting. Rice's flick, Ryan, Keane with Quintaro going wide. Forced back by the attention of Stevens, now in Doe under pressure from Ronan Finn, who's hardly really been able to get into the side since he came on as a substitute for Chris Turner. It's going to be 1 minute of added time at the end of this first half. First half illuminated by that Gavin Pearce header with 6 minutes to go to the interval. Stephen Rice. Stevens, good play to get past Quintaro. Now O'Neill. Rice again. Pat Sullivan hasn't been able to get forward from right back as much as he usually does. Gets it back from McCabe, evading the challenge of Doyle. Ball in behind Aaron Green. Should be able to deal with this. But the clearance was wayward, straight to Rice. Sullivan. And Sullivan again, doing well, but Endo was big and strong. Now McCormick. Just a few seconds to go. Can Shamrock Rovers even get this near the Sligo goal before the interval? Rice. Cleared away by Keane. The block from Rice. We've played that minute of additional time. It's down to the referee now. Finn. He hasn't looked at his watch yet. Stevens. Rice. Finn. Good tackle by Pearce. And how fitting that the man who got the goal for Sligo Rovers after 39 minutes is the one who should last touch it before the interval. Anthony Buttermer brings us to half-time with Sligo Rovers with that slender advantage given to him by Gavin Pearce at 39 minutes at half-time in the showgrounds. It's Sligo Rovers 1, Shamrock Rovers 0, and we'll hear the thoughts of Johnny McDonald in the studio after this short break.
It's a typical Wild West evening at the showgrounds, and after some wayward efforts with the wind, well, Sligo Rovers finally became the Wild Rovers with a 39th minute header from Gavin Pearce, and at half-time, the home side lead by a 1-0. And you're very welcome back. So half-time at the showgrounds, it's Sligo Rovers leading by a 0-0, and the goal coming courtesy of Gavin Pearce. But would it be fair to say, Johnny, that for long periods during that first half, both sides were just cancelling each other out, and it may relate to the styles of play that we spoke about before the programme?
It was quite frantic at the start, Peter. You know, both teams didn't retain the ball too well, but then Sligo Rovers did settle down better, and they controlled the game a little bit better. But there definitely is the contrast. You'll see it in the captions that we have here now, where Sligo Rovers are trying to play it and build it up to the edge of the box into Blinkhorn's feet, where Rovers are kind of working on the counter-attack and trying to get McCabe and Dennehy maybe in behind. Gary O'Neill, you know, a job up there on his own, but he's coming too deep. He's nearly in the Sligo Rovers half, you know, right back into his own half from the Sligo half. He's too deep and they're too far away from the goal.
Yeah, we did say at times during that first half that Rovers generally were defending well, but we can see now from the goal that one lapse in concentration, lose your man and you're in trouble.
It's a decent ball in, but I mean, there's two free players. McGuinness and Pearce are free. It's, you know, it's bread and butter stuff really. I mean, it's just beyond, maybe too far out for the keeper, but in fairness to McGuinness and Pearce, they work well together, and it's a decent header down. Once it hit the ground, it was always going to go into the net.
Yeah, and in the early stages of the game, we saw a Joseph N'Doe free kick where again, both Sligo Rovers centre halves got forward and they weren't picked up and they could have had a goal. Yeah,
well, you'll see it here again. There's good movement in the box, decent ball in. You maybe can't see it as good from there, but from behind the goal, you'll see it really well where Pearce misses it and McGuinness also misses it. Both of them are coming in here, and there should have been a goal. Bad defending by Rovers for the set pieces there. Again, Green overlapping, you know, getting down the wing. Maybe McCabe's defensive job not too good, but Blinkhorn should have got across the near post. A decent chance. There wasn't too many chances in the half, but that was a good chance for Blinkhorn to get across the near post.
Yeah, we've a good example now, Johnny, of the contrasting styles that we've spoken about right from the off here. And one from a Sligo attack, then the counter from Shamrock Rovers.
I think Joseph is on it. They're building up nice and slow. You can see the three on the edge of the box. They're looking for combinations. Good defending by Rovers, but look how quickly they get it forward. We spoke about the space wide on both sides because Sligo fullbacks would be attacking, and they're trying to get McCabe in. You know, it fizzled out in the end. Decent defending in the end by Sligo, but the contrast there where you've seen Joseph building it up for Sligo Rovers and then Shamrock Rovers, decent defending, but as I said, getting it forward quickly and wide and trying to get in behind where the fullbacks have been attacking.
Yeah, but the Rovers seem to be a little bit short on options, only playing Gary O'Neill up front, and we've seen him on many occasions during that first half. He's had to come deep to try and get involved and pick up some possession, and the only way they've been exploiting plays really through that route and Gary McCabe. Yeah,
they played a couple of diagonal balls as well in behind. They tried to get in behind the fullback, but you know, here's an instance here where again it's quite direct. You know, he's pulled off the fullback really well, and you know, Green, not a natural defender, maybe got caught under the ball, but very direct. But Gary O'Neill coming really, really deep. The selection of passes is McCabe again getting in behind, so trying to exploit that space. But getting back to O'Neill, coming really, really deep for the ball. The selection of passes into Gary too high up in the air. You know, it needs to be into him where he can lock it up and bring the midfielders into play or the wide players into play. Better selection of passes into Gary and higher up the pitch.
The pressure now is on Shamrock Rovers really to change and adapt during the second half. What do you think Michael O'Neill's going to do?
Well, I think he needs to get more from Finn. Ronan Finn came on after 19 or 20 minutes, and I think he got one or two touches of the ball. He needs to get into the game. In saying that, the two central midfielders for Sligo, Joseph and young Ryan, they haven't been on it so much, but what they did, they were patient and they built it up well. But I'd like to see Finn on it more. I'd like to see him getting on it, playing, penetrating passes up to O'Neill, you know, getting it up to his feet and good support. I think Rovers need to get on the ball a bit more. They need to control the game. They obviously need a goal as well, Peter.
They certainly do. As we said at the top of the programme, this is a fixture that would certainly test the mettle of both sides, and at the moment it's Sligo Rovers leading by that goal. Now, just before we go to the break, we'll update you on the half times elsewhere, and as Stephen mentioned during his first half commentary, Bohemians ahead at Dalymount against Drogheda United. Fagan the score, they lead by a goal to nil. Dundalk also have a single goal advantage at Oriel Park over Galway United. It's scoreless at Richmond Park, St Pat's nil, Bray Wanderers nil. A huge evening for St Patrick's Athletic. Remember, if they win and Shamrock Rovers lose down at the showgrounds, St Pat's will be the new league leaders this evening. Okay, and there you can see at Belfield, UCD nil, Derry City nil. Okay, so half times at the showgrounds, it's Sligo Rovers 1, Shamrock Rovers nil. The second half will be coming up shortly after the break. Do stay with us. Football will be reviewed in M&S as always on Monday evening at 7 o'clock. And you're very welcome back. Sligo Rovers leading Shamrock Rovers by a goal to nil. Now, we know that Shamrock Rovers are a resilient outfit, but there will have to be changes in the second half to help them get back into the game. And at the same time, you don't see Sligo changing their approach, do you?
I just think that they're an attacking team. He's put out an attacking formation. You know, they've got their goal, so will he stick with it? I think he will, because I think Paul's teams do attack. Shamrock Rovers will need, I mean, just prior to the break, they pushed on, they got lots of people in around the box after they went a goal down. They will need more of that, but without leaving themselves too open at the back. Michael, you know, he's cagey enough. They will have a go, and they won't have a go too early. I don't think they won't want to leave themselves open. I think they need that second attacker up there. I think they need to get support up to Gary if Gary is still on in the second half. I think is that Finn. I think they need to get a second attacker on, and you know, with Sligo, they're not equipped to deal with defending with Joseph and Richie Ryan in front. They're not two really shielding, holding midfielders. They're more attacking midfielders. Now, in saying that, when they get on the ball and they can keep possession, that's as good as any defending once you're controlling the game and keeping the ball. But interesting to see will there be any changes at half time.
Yeah. Normally the managers will wait, but I mean, you can't see this game reaching its duration without Gary Twigg being introduced, can you?
Well, you know, Gary, he'd be in there. He'd be saying what's he doing in the game, but eventually he will get a chance. He will definitely get a chance in the game. Rovers will get chances. You know, the resilient Rovers, in fairness to them, 2-0 down against Dundalk the other night.
Yeah.
They've come back, so they won't panic. They're resilient enough, and they will be reminded of that at half time as well. They're not top of the league for nothing, but I definitely think you will see Twig coming on at some stage.
Yeah, I think that's a fair bet, Johnny, till it is. And we believe word from the dressing room that there will be no changes for Shamrock Rovers at the start of the second half. But as Johnny was saying there, quite likely Gary Twigg will be introduced at some stage. And as you can see, Sligo Rovers now coming back out onto the pitch at the showgrounds, which, as Stephen mentioned at the start of his commentary, really is in wonderful condition. As we say in the trade, Johnny, it's a zippy surface with all the rain that has fallen down there, but the rain appears to have stopped. So, again, every chance of more goals in the second half. Let's see what happens, because it is time now to hand you back to our commentary team at the showgrounds. It's Pat Morley and Stephen Allen.
Yes, welcome back to the showgrounds, and you're right, Peter, the rain has certainly abated. A little bit of spitting in the air, but not too much. The Sligo Rovers fans away behind the goal to the right a lot of them have stayed there, despite the fact their team are going to be attacking the car park end in this second half. Anthony Buttimer, who has booked a few players in the first half, just to remind or to fill you in on viewers who may have joined us late. Conor McCormick, Gary McCabe and Billy Dennehy all in the book for Shamrock Rovers. Nobody has been yellow carded from Sligo. So we're all set to continue without any changes on either side. No temptation by Michael O'Neill to introduce an extra striker, perhaps playing with the wind. And the hold-up here is because one of our groundsmen is actually still forking away. I mean, he's so intent on having this surface looking like a billiard table that he's oblivious to the fact that we want to play football.
Fantastic.
So here we go. Shamrock Rovers playing with the aid of the breeze in the second half. He's still over in the far corner. You can see him bend over at the mark. Well, I've never seen that before. Such diligence and attention to duty. Well, that man, he probably goes to bed with a pitchfork under his pillow.
He's actually put the grass in a box over. He's going to save it for later. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, Pat Morley and I are both keen golfers, and we both feel that this pitch is as good as any fairway we've seen on any great championship golf course, that's for sure. Fair play to Joe Cleary and his team. Gavin Pearce heads it away, looking for Blinkhorn, who's battling away with Ken O'Man. Sent back by McGuinness. It'll be interesting to see how these two sides tackle the elements tactically in the second half. I expect Sligo to pass the ball a lot better and more progressively into the wind than Shamrock Rovers did, because they like to use their midfield players. The long ball from Rovers wasn't really helping them, especially with Gary O'Neill up front, who's only about 5'7". Good play by Cretaro. Cross was okay, but Civez was there. And Doe nicely down to Cretaro again. Since we've kicked off over a minute ago, Sligo have more or less kept possession. Out of Alan Keane for a Shamrock Rovers throw-in.
Yeah, but even in the first 2 minutes there, you saw the retention of the ball from Sligo, and the way they were just little 1-2s, and Blinkhorn was going into a little space, the ball was being picked up, and Cretaro was coming off, and Joe and Doe was picking up. So you can just see their retention is a lot better at the moment than Shamrock Rovers.
Civez with the long ball straight onto the head of Aaron Green. Doyle blocked by Sullivan, but it's broken for Ryan, who spots Cretaro over on the far side. He's looking for the run of Alan Keane, but has to go backwards instead to Ndo, who's under pressure from Rice. Good pressure from Shamrock Rovers. Now Jason McGuinness to Kirby. Green Sullivan was stretching. Well, during our half-time break, there was news of more goals, and it's practically raining goals in Oriel Park, where Dundalk have gone 3-0 up on Galway United now. Greg Bulger with his second, his first goals of the season, and Mark Quigley with the third for Dundalk. And also during the interval we heard that UCD have gone a goal up against Derry City. Now that's a sensation. Dean Marshall with his third goal of the year. For UCD to beat Derry, that would be a huge dent in their title ambitions, especially if Shamrock Rovers don't get the win here.
Well, I mean, if the top side are going to fail, I mean, look, there's 45 minutes to go here, so I think they've every chance to redeem themselves. But if they do, you want to look at trying to gain ground on them, and that's what you want to do if you're behind them.
Flicked on by Kratara to Blinkhorn, who's the furthest forward for Sligo. Lovely play by Kirby. Away goes Doyle. He's got too much pace for Cives. Will he take him on? Inside he goes. Great tackle by McCormick. Onto it comes Kirby again. Good battling play by the man from Dundalk, and it's cleared away by Ken O'Man.
Again, Doyle is just taking a tiny bit out of it too much, but again, the whole Sligo build-up was just foul. I mean, there it is, he's just lost it, and there's a good tackle, but you saw the way Sligo, it was no long ball up, it was just retention and build it up slowly.
And that was the hallmark that we saw in the cup final last November, when Sligo Rovers passed Shamrock Rovers off the pitch in the Aviva Stadium. A side that are not overawed in the slightest by any occasion. That was Doyle battling with Sullivan. Throw goes to Shamrock Rovers. Lots of Shamrock Rovers fans have made the journey. They're trying to encourage their side, but as you can see, they don't look too happy at the moment. Rovers going through a bit of a bad patch in their season. They've just come through 3 home games in a row where they've dropped 4 points. And now they've got much more difficult matches today against Sligo. Then at home to St. Pat's and away to Derry, a game that you will be able to see live in a fortnight's time on RTE2. That was Dennehy trying to get forward. It's come off Jason McGuinness, and it's going to be Shamrock Rovers' first corner of the game, coming in the 50th minute.
Yeah, again, it's a ball in behind, and you know, like, this is where O'Neill does his best work, is in this part of the pitch, not on the halfway line. And what you want, again, from a Rover standpoint, is that it's a good ball, and either Cives or O'Man can at the end of it.
O'Man and Cives in the centre. Chance at the far post, but Alan Keane did really well. He just spotted the dangerous Pat Sullivan, the right back, was coming in from a very good corner.
Yeah, it's not a bad ball, but Keane has done very, very well, because Sully is coming in at the back post.
Alan Keane showing great awareness there. Now another corner for Shamrock Rovers, who will really push forward at every opportunity. Goal behind, don't forget. Good flick across the box. And that was dangerous. Ronan Finn was coming in on the far side. Couldn't get there in time.
Didn't anticipate it. I mean, it's a good little touch. I think it's Ken O'Man on the front post has run across. He's got a lovely little touch on that. Again, it's a bit high, but like Ronan Finn, there you go, there's the little touch. It's actually Pearce has knocked it onto the back post.
Pearce, who was trying to close down Ken O'Man, but not successfully. The goal from Gavin Pearce on 39 minutes, separating the sides. And Sligo playing into the strong breeze in the second half. The rain has stopped completely now. And both sides still with lots of choices on the bench should they want to freshen things up. Shamrock Rovers, of course, have made one change. Ronan Finn had to come on for Chris Turner. Lovely flick by Richie Ryan. Now in Doe and Krataro and Keane. Oh, that was poor. Showed too much to Stevens, but Endo has it back, and the ball over the top was asking far too much of Alan Keane.
Yeah, just a tiny bit sloppy there, and I'm sure Paul Cook won't be happy with that, because Alan Keane has just taken his eye off the ball and left it run too far and given the impetus back to Shamrock Rovers. But again, Endo had a chance to keep the game calm, and he's just put one out of play, so just a bit lazy.
Keane's header. Kirby got there for Sligo, but McCormick is in for Rovers. Shamrock Rovers, that is. Of course, both sides with the same secondary title. Sometimes it can be confusing for you at home when we call them Rovers. This is Stevens. Getting it back from Dennehy, who's on the left side at the start of the second half. McCormack. Good pressure being applied by Sligo. Look at that, Ryan in there to make the tackle on Rice. Now Sives. Sullivan. Doyle closing him down. The former Shamrock Rovers schoolboy evading that challenge. Can't find McCormack. Keane gets the pass up to Blinkhorn. Now Doyle. Kirby going through the centre. Good ball to pick out Blinkhorn, who might get behind Sives. Kirby's in the centre. Here he is, headed down. Here's Doyle, Sligo's top scorer. Cretaro, chance to shoot perhaps. Still Cretaro, down he goes. They're looking for a penalty, and it's going to be a yellow card against Rafael Cretaro for diving. Now this is an interesting one to see again. The referee only gets to see it once in real time. What does it look like on the replays?
Initial reaction to me, Stephen, it looks like a penalty. He's gone inside, and I think Cretaro has been dragged by the jersey. He's pulled it, there you go. He's been dragged back there. It's a pull, and to me, centre forward biasness, to me it's a penalty. I mean, he's grabbed him, there's the pull. Now he's gone down.
No question there was contact. I should imagine Paul Cook, who's furious on the sideline, will be appealing that decision. You don't usually get yellow cards rescinded, but in that case, and on video evidence, you'd have to say he has a case.
He has a case, and look, again, the referee has to look at him on his side. If he thinks then it's a dive, he's got to book him. So that's the unfortunate there, but to me it looked like a penalty. I mean, he's been pulled back in the act of shooting, so to me it's a penalty kick.
Sives heads it, but straight to Joseph Ndo, who lets it run through to Alan Keane. The chase is on for Kirby, but he can't get to that. Poor ball from Alan Keane. But Sligo Rovers certainly asking questions of Shamrock Rovers since the interval. And Rovers still adopting that long ball tactic up towards Gary O'Neill, which is poor football, the wrong tactics in a situation like this.
We spoke in the first half quite a bit about it, and Johnny McDonald said it at a half-time interval as well, that the balls were not coming up to him at pace, in the right height, or at to his feet. If he's going to keep with this tactic, he's got to bring Twig on, because at least he's a bit of height and he will hold it up better.
Blinkhorn's touch wasn't the best, and an offside flag against the big centre forward who'd come from an offside position to get there. Matthew Blinkhorn, who has come from Morecambe to this wild place in the northwest. Wild on an evening like this when the wind is blowing. It's more like October than June. Throw in to Sligo. Keane's clearance coming off Billy Dennehy. Jerry Carr giving some instructions to Rafael Cretaro on the sideline. Blinkhorn trying to hold it up. McCormack in for Rovers. Finn flicking it to Rice, who is beaten to it by Richie Ryan. Sent across to Doyle. Clever first touch to make some space for himself. The ball across to Cretaro, quickly played up to Blinkhorn. It's come back to Ndo. Lots of movement for Sligo. Cretaro now again, but Rice wins it back for Rovers. And it's Shamrock Rovers' Ronan Finn with some space to run into here. And he has that pace if he needs to use it. But look, Ndo is across to win the tackle. And the throw-in goes to the home side, much to the delight of the fans on that far side.
Sligo are working harder than Rovers at the moment, and what they're doing is when they're without the ball, they're actually even working so hard to get it back as well.
And don't forget, should the scoreline stay the same, Shamrock Rovers will only be 2 points ahead of Sligo Rovers. And of course, St. Pat's are only a point behind Shamrock Rovers going into tonight's games. So far, there have been no scores in Richmond Park. It's still 0-0 between St. Pat's and Bray Wanderers. Good free kick from Ndo, looking for Blinkhorn. But Ken O'Man was the sharper. Gary O'Neill held back by Gavin Pearce. Excellent clearance by Brendan Clark, taking no chances. That's out of the ground. Give us a new ball, please. Stevens. Ken O'Man. Played into the run of Ronan Finn. Pearce was across for Sligo. Not too much movement on the sideline with players warming up. A few Shamrock Rovers players, but they're not really doing too much. Twig, Kilduff over there.
He's got the tracksuit end off though, Twig. I think he's trying to push there. He's trying to push the...
Looks like he might have got the call.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure about time as far as the Shamrock Rovers fans are concerned down below us. Here goes the cross. McCabe tried to get there. Finn couldn't because of the block by Pears. And Keane gets it up to Blinkhorn. Doyle, Richie Ryan, lovely touch to pick out Owen Doyle. And now Aaron Green bursting forward from left back. The ball holding up nicely in the soft top surface. The cross, it hits the bar. Manus was nowhere. It wasn't a great cross. He surely wasn't going for goal, was he? Curtaro, Kirby, good block by Rice. Excellent play by Sligo Rovers on 2 occasions. And now the ball from Mendo, looking for Curtaro, who's still there. Couldn't get it back to Kirby because that was a good block by Enda Stevens, and it's a corner to Sligo. Great attack by the home side.
Yes, I mean, here's Aaron Green's, obviously a cross. Oh man, this was all beating all ends up, hit the crossbar. Here it is again. I mean, he's just having a look. Great ball in. Manus is beaten. Very unlucky, and you can see there's the reaction. They think it's 2-0.
Well, the follow-up play by Sligo was also good, and there were some really good blocks by Shamrock Rovers to prevent themselves from going 2 down. Here's Endo's corner. McGuinness is at the far post, headed by Pat Sullivan, and cleared away by Stevens. One back by Kirby. What a great player he's been tonight. And the referee is calling for...
He's actually given for the ball, gone out for the corner kick, it looks like, and that has gone over the line. And for him to take that length of time for it to come back is amazing. See where he's going to put it back. It has to be a goal kick.
Ball must have curled from the corner kick behind the goal line, and that means it is a goal kick. And here's Gary Twigg, Shamrock Rovers talisman for the last 2.5 years, about to come into this. But will he take Gary O'Neill off and play just one man up front, or will he play him alongside Gary O'Neill? What would you do?
Well, if it was me, I think you've got to put Twigg up front, and I think Gary O'Neill will probably have to play off because he's playing deep, and leave Twigg playing the last man, which he's good at. And that's what I would do. He has got to go 4-4-2.
A goal behind in Sligo, and a very difficult last half hour of this game coming up for the champions. Alan Manus clears it away. McGuinness taking control. Sives with the header, missed by Rice. The break goes Sligo's way. Indo, poor ball from Curtaro. Rice has it now, Stevens. And that was Keane coming forward, and he might have made contact here. And that's another yellow card. Second Sligo man in the book, joining Rafael Curtaro. Gary McCabe was the one who was caught.
Yeah, he's come in there and he's caught him with the trailing leg, and that's a yellow card. Good decision. There it is, right behind, and that's dangerous. So, deserved yellow card.
And here's the change, and it's Enda Stevens who's going off the left back to be replaced by Gary Twigg. The 9-goal man for Shamrock Rovers, 13th in the all-time Shamrock Rovers goal list of league goal scorers. Paddy Ambrose leads that with 109. Gary Twigg is on 54. Oman and Sives have gone forward. Can Sligo Rovers defend this properly, or will Shamrock Rovers find a way back into the game? It's a good ball, but it's headed away by Aaron Green. Indo, down through Curtaro. Oh, that's great composure by the Tubbercurry Tornado, and he's on to Kirby, and Blinkhorn is going through the centre, and he's up against Pat Sullivan. He should win this. Sullivan did well, and so too did Craig Sives, who came back all of 80 yards to be in a good defensive position. Indo. And another goal in Oriel Park, the hapless Galway United, 4-0 down now. And it's Ward who got the fourth for Dundalk. Here's Aaron Green taking on Dennehy. And that's put out, hit the corner, flag, but I think it will be a corner rather than a throw-in.
Yeah, lovely little touch there. I mean, there you go. I mean, that's another one from Monday Night Soccer straight away.
Yes, it is a corner. We weren't sure because it hit the corner flag. And from our position here, it's very difficult to see that left corner. Fourth corner of the game for Sligo. Cleared away by Ken Oman, but Curtaro is there. Kirby. Over the top looking for Blinkhorn, came off McCormick. Blinkhorn is the one who's profited. He's got Green in support, but it's going to be a throw to Sligo. Now, do they have anybody who can do a long throw?
I don't
Alan
think
Keane is coming forward from the back.
maybe. I think they're probably going to try and probe where McCormick's gone back left full now to replace Enda Stevens. So maybe that's going to be something that Paul Cook is going to look at.
Quintaro. The onus very much on Shamrock Rovers. They are the team behind. Sligo will be happy if it stays like this. It's over the top of Pears and McGuinness, but that was very calm play again by the Sligo centre half. He's done brilliantly tonight, Jason McGuinness. Now Blinkhorn, nice flick to Kirby. Lots of support there from Indo. Richie Ryan trying to get into a forward position. Kirby just about managing to keep possession. Green, Indo, Ryan. Oh, he was dwelling on that, and Ronan Finn is through, and he's hurdled the challenge of Pears, but that's great defending by Alan Keane. Got back to cover. It's a game that's on a knife edge. You're just wondering when the next dramatic moment will come. Ken O'Man coming into the back of Matthew Blinkhorn, and that's going to be a free kick to Sligo.
Yeah, there's the difference in the two centre forwards.
John Kenny with Michael O'Neill.
Made the change again. You had one in the first half. This one you decided to change things to 4-4-2, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, we're behind the game. We have to push Gary on. We have to try and get it back. To be fair, Sligo have started the game well into the elements. We're needing a bit of a lifeline, so hopefully Gary will give us that.
All right, thank you very much, Michael.
Shamrock Rovers team who are unbeaten in their last 6 games in all competitions. Haven't lost since they lost to Bray Wanderers at the end of May. Now here goes Aaron Green, taking on Sullivan. Great run, and a tackle from Pat Sullivan, kept in by Green, who probably thought it was going to be a goal kick. Now Kirby, always aware of the space, Alan Kirby. He's been really good. Great ball in by Endo to Blinkhorn, who goes down very easily. Now if Kratara gets a yellow card for falling down, does Blinkhorn get one there?
Think so.
Off the chest of O'Neill. Ryan got there before Rice. Here's Kratara, good tackle by McCormick, who has played at left back for Shamrock Rovers this season on several occasions. And that's Gavin Pears putting it out.
Tempo's up again. They started to lift the pace both sides, and you can even see that with the introduction of Twig, that all of a sudden there's even a little sharper little step to Rovers as well.
Gary McCabe on the run. Pears got the challenge in, now McCormick. It's come off Pears for the throw in. Well, Sligo Rovers certainly made more of the elements in the first half than Shamrock Rovers have done since half-time, but that's because Sligo have just played better. Cross just too high. It was well covered by Brendan Clark, who's had a great season so far between the sticks for Sligo Rovers.
Yeah, again, look, he's done the right thing here. He's put the ball in, but obviously it's just caught in the wind and it's gone over. And you learn from that, and the next time you get a chance of that, you just put it a bit lower. You look at what Indo did from the free kicks and the corner kicks, and it just needs to be put in at a certain pace, at a decent height, and people will get onto it.
Sives getting the better of Blinkhorn. Kirby. Blinkhorn showed a lot of that to Sullivan. Rice. An advantage was played there, but I think was O'Neill trying to play that back to the free kicks. Anyway, Shamrock Rovers still have possession, and Sullivan. And here's Ronan Finn getting past the challenge of Ryan, but Joseph Indo in with the tackle. Not often we say that. Well, what a hapless night it's turning into. Well, I'll tell you about the goal score in a minute, because here's that chance for Finn.
Yeah, I mean, Indo, he's been marvellous all night. I mean, everything goes through him. You can see he's actually controlling the game. He controls the pace of the game, and when he's playing the way he plays and he can knock the ball around, there's not a better sight in League of Ireland football.
Well, Mark Griffin, who scored 2 goals for Dundalk in midweek in the Tala Stadium, has scored again, and it's Dundalk 5, Galway United 0. Sean Connor's woes continue. 3 certain points for Dundalk. We've had some pretty one-sided games this year in the league. 6-1, a 7-0, and now a 5-0 for Dundalk against Galway. Keane's throw in. And Blinkhorn must have been using his hand there. It was spotted by the assistant. Free kick goes to Shamrock Rovers.
Okay, that's the question then. Kataro's come inside, he's had his shirt grabbed and it's been a free for a dive, and exactly the same has happened outside the box and he's given the free the other way. So it's just a small bit of consistency is all you'll be looking for here.
Well, this is Kieran Kilduff, another Shamrock Rovers striker, UCT's top scorer last season, but Kilduff has scored 5 goals this season with very few opportunities. He's a very good striker. Now Shamrock Rovers are going to have a wealth of attacking talent on the pitch, and maybe it'll be too many cooks spoiling the broth. Uh-oh, what about that? The bounce there almost deceiving Brendan Clark. It looked like the ball was going to go harmlessly behind. That was close.
Be interesting to know how many goals he scored in his career. Judge the perfection.
Keeper had it covered. Well, here's Kieran Kilduff. And he's on in place of Gary O'Neill. So it's going to be Kilduff and Twig up front. Kilduff, who has a much more physical presence about him. Tall player, very skillful on the ground. This is a pair that you'd expect Shamrock Rovers to go to in this situation. Of course, Carl Shepherd, who probably would have been involved tonight, is injured. A player who has scored 3 times against Sligo Rovers this season in the 4 matches that have all been victories for the team in green and white. Ryan blocked by Stephen Rice. All the changes made now by Michael O'Neill. Can they get themselves back into this match? At this stage, you'd expect he'd be happy with a point. But if they could get a goal in the next few minutes, well, then anything could happen. Green's throw, Sullivan's header. Finn did well to keep possession. McCormack onto McKay, quickly closed down by Keane. The rain starts coming down again. Kilduff beaten in the air by the peerless Pears. Now McKay. Good block by Keane. Good run by McKay. And Kilduff looking for the space. Oh, he's been barged over by Gavin Pears. Now surely that was a penalty. The Sligo fans are saying that Kilduff has gone down too easily, but for me, Pears pushed him over.
Ball's inside, he's knocked it inside, he's come straight across, that's a penalty kick.
Well, that evens up the score, because really Kratara should have got one in the first half. Was Anthony Buttimer balancing things out there, but certainly looks like this game should have had a couple of pens.
Yeah, whether he's balancing it up or not doesn't matter. See, I mean, it's a penalty kick. I mean, he's gone inside, he's pushed the ball inside, and he's been totally taken over by Gavin Pears. Gavin Pears can turn around and say he was trying to get back and all that, but no, it's a penalty kick inside the box.
Here's Blinkhorn getting past Sinners, and the block by the big Scot gives Sligo Rovers the corner, their 5th of the game.
Again, Blinkhorn, he's turned Pears inside out. Pears has done well, he's come back, Seves has done back, he got back and covered it, but again it's a very, very dangerous position, and the game is getting a bit heated, and Indo coming over, small bit of canvas, good ball in the box, and get a few people in it.
Well, we know how Joseph Indo can deliver these dead ball situations. The Sligo Rovers goal in 39 minutes came from just a position as this, and Pears and McGuinness are forward again, and it's a good ball in. Then it's cleared away by Finn towards Kilduff. Keane should get there, but Kilduff is very pacey. Look out for that. Clark gets it away. Sullivan with time to take it down. Lots of space on the far side for Gary McCabe. Ran into the traffic though, and McGuinness gets it away. Just signs of Sligo getting out of shape in the last couple of minutes. They need to get their composure. Shamrock Rovers will definitely get back into this. Down goes Kratara, but that was a slip. Crossfield ball by McCabe. Kilduff heads it inside. Back it goes to Rice. Finn pulling Green away. We know Shamrock Rovers have great tenacity. They came back from 2 down on Tuesday against Dundalk. And it was Billy Dennehy who got the equaliser in the 92nd minute. So this game will not be over until the final whistle goes, that's for sure.
Not at all. I mean, Sligo have just gone a bit too deep in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and it's just a bit of nervousness that's creeping into their game. And there's too much of a gap now between the midfield and Blinkhorn, and that's because Rovers have started to put the pressure on them, and they've started to get more retention of the ball themselves.
First change for Paul Cook, and it's Rafa Curtaro who's going to go off, and he's going to be replaced by John Dillon. A like-for-like swap for Paul Cook, coming in the 73rd minute. Dillon, who made a great start to the season, very compact player, great passer of the ball, and he has 4 goals to his credit so far this season.
Yeah, no change there, and a good positive substitution by Paul Cook. I mean, Qataro's worked very, very hard, and you know, John Dillon coming in, he's getting a lot of experience, and he's a good player.
Oman showing good physicality, and McCabe with great skill to hold off Dillon. Little touch forward by Kilduff, but it's gone out of play for a Sligo throw.
Don't think he's very happy with the referee at the moment, is Lee Michael O'Neill. I mean, he's having a chat, he's looking. I mean, you know, he just needs to be small but careful. He's a bit frustrated.
Couple of scores to give you. Bohemians have gone 2 up now against Drogheda. Anto Flood with that goal. And Galway have got a consolation in Oriel Park, and it's Gary Kelly who's got it back to 5-1. Still no goals at St. Pat's and Bray. UCD still 1 up against Derry. Here it's a Gavin Pearce goal in the 39th minute that separates the sides, and McGuinness taking charge. Twig really felt that. Doyle on to Green, looking for Blinkhorn's run. Rice right in the challenge well. Now Finn. McCormack looking for Twig. The flick on was good. Gavin Pearce is there, but the flag is raised. It's offside against either Dennehy or Kilduff. John Kenny's with Jerry Carr.
Jerry, Rovers have made the change, brought Twig on and Kilduff up front. Is when they got 4-4-2. Maybe you're sitting back a little bit too deep.
Yeah, Shams made a change. I think we've started the second half well again, John. Obviously we went in 1-0 at half time, but I think we've continued in the vein we were. Obviously you're leading, so you've got something to hold on to. What we don't want to do is sit back deep and invite them on, so you know, we're looking to score another goal.
All right, thanks for that, Jerry.
Aaron Green made it difficult for himself there, and Shamrock Rovers have got the throw in. Green, who's playing his 3rd game at left back since Irla Davern picked up a thigh injury. And it's a corner now to Shamrock Rovers, and you can see everybody coming forward for this.
They have to. I mean, they got to press now, and it could leave little spaces open at the back, but they need good balls in the box. Even they haven't put one in all evening.
And Sligo Rovers have everybody back in their own penalty area, no out ball whatsoever. In comes the corner, and it was Kennaman with the flick on. He was trying to get it towards goal, but he just lifted it too high, and Sligo Rovers can breathe again.
He just got too much, and it's the right idea. If he just took a little bit of pace off, you can see Twig has gone back post there, and he's free. I mean, look, he's flicked it too hard, and all he needs to do is just glance that. As you can see, there's 3 Rovers players at the back post there that are free. Look, there's Twig with his hands up. So it's only a little glance, not try and score from there.
And while he was doing that, McCormack went across to Michael O'Neill to get some instructions, which he's passed on to his team. Shamrock Rovers by no means out of this with less than a quarter of an hour to go. The wind has abated slightly, which is good for Sligo as they're playing into the elements in the second half. Ryan finds Doyle. On to Kirby. Now Dillon. First chance he's had to get on the ball, but he's shown too much of it to McCormack. Rode the challenge well. Good ball to pick out Keane. Little pullback required here. Forward goes Keane into the box, and Blinkhorn denied by a brilliant Pat Sullivan block at the near post. Great defending and a really good attack too.
Brilliant defending. Lovely little ball by Dillon inside. You look as if Keane is, if he's after overrunning it, he's taking it inside, then outside. Great little ball. Great defending by Pat Sullivan. Blinkhorn's done everything right. Lovely little touch, and great defending Pat Sullivan.
So Sligo Rovers not rushing with these dead ball situations now, as you would expect. Dillon making the run towards the near post. In it comes from Indo. Pearce with the header straight into the arms of Manus. Completely free. Terrible defending by Shamrock Rovers. Should have been 2-0.
Well, we can't say it anymore, Steve. I mean, there it is again. I mean, he's free. I mean, he's 3 or 4 yards away from anybody near him. And I mean, look, he's leaning back, so it's unlucky head, but you can't be doing that. That's 4 chances he's literally had. He could have a hat-trick tonight, Gavin Pearce.
Well, Sligo Rovers have got a really good defensive thing going at the moment. 4 games without conceding, and well on the way to a 5th here. If they get that 5, well, they're going to be only 2 points behind Shamrock Rovers at the end of this game. And this league campaign that we all thought Shamrock Rovers were going to completely dominate has not turned out like that at all. They've only lost 2 games so far, both against Bray Wanderers, and we've been waiting for the likes of Sligo or Pats or Derry to get in amongst the champions and see if they can beat them. Well, this could be the first time we see that in 2011. Sligo Rovers just taking their time with the clock ticking away. Alan Keane with the throw in. Shamrock Rovers keeping 2 up as Sligo look to try and get what might be a clincher. Endo looking for the pass, and it's cleared away, but out of play for another Sligo Rovers throw. It's all going the way of the home team at the moment.
Well, Sligo will be happy with the ball up at this end of the pitch because it just takes a bit of pressure off the back 4 as well. But you know, you look at it with the Pearce chance while ago, they could be 2 up.
Doe trying to squeeze it past McCormick. It's all very tight. That's what Sligo want. The last thing they need now is an open contest where there's lots of space in the middle. So far they've got it tactically spot on. Dillon to Keane. Dillon again. Cross to Kirby. Always knows where the space is. Ryan over the top for Doyle, but it's too close to Alan Manus.
Right idea, but just over the top. But again, Pat Sullivan in the back, he totally composed. I mean, he was pointing to Manus before the ball even came in, say it's your ball.
McCabe and Dennehy have switched wings again. Dennehy's back on his favourite left side, McCabe on the right, but they're not getting the kind of service they need. And Keane sends it over the top for Dillon, who's full of running. Gary Owen into the centre from him. Sullivan's underneath it, and that's really good defending by Pat Sullivan. Great composure.
Yeah, I mean, this is coming down with snow on it, but look, it's the communication between the full-back and the goalkeeper, and it's just no man on and good defending.
Gavin Pearce had his arms over the shoulders of Kieran Kilduff there, but again he got away with it. And Brendan Clark was alert and aware to get down on it for Sligo.
Again, see, he's all over the Rover centre forward there, and you're saying to yourself, you know, there's some being given, there's some haven't been given, and that, to me, if it's like that all night, it should be a free kick.
Cormac was fortunate there that Dillon didn't rob it off him. Good skill by Keane. And Blinkhorn is too sharp for Ken O'Man. Kirby onto Blinkhorn. Good cross required. Oh, Manus has dropped the ball and Kirby couldn't get onto it. Chance for Dillon. Oh, just wide, deflected wide. John Dillon inches away from surely clinching this game. Shamrock Rovers all over the place.
Yeah, it's just total lack of communication between Manus and Civis. Here it is, yours, mine, yours, mine. Look, the keeper has got to get that, and then the ball comes back out and it's a deflection. I mean, I think it's Ricey who's just got a deflection on that, and it's the deflection that's just taken it away.
So the corner, as we see the reaction of the Sligo Rovers fans. And Doe takes it. Oh, good header, just past the post. Blinkhorn got onto that. Another free header. Shamrock Rovers, with all their big men at the back, still can't stop these headers from coming goalwards.
No, I mean, it's Blinkhorn's gone front post, and I'm sure Michael O'Neill, when he gets him back after the game during the week, will have to have a look at the video and look at the set pieces and say, lads, we're either going to do this or we're going to do this, but we've got to stop free headers in the box because it's going to kill them.
Kilduff got the flick on. Keane was too bright for McCabe, but he's managed to get the second ball. And here's Gary McCabe. Owen Doyle sliding in. He took the legs of the Shamrock Rovers player. It's a free kick to them, and it's a very dangerous position, this, for Sligo.
Very dangerous position. I mean, McCabe is doing what he's doing best, running at the defence. Doyle has gone back. He's clipped him from behind. Saw a card for something like that a while ago. Dangerous position. So you'd be saying to yourself, let's put the right person on this to hit the target. The wall will have to be strong.
Brendan Clark making sure they're covering his right-hand post. Standing over it, Dennehy, who's got a really good left foot, and Gary McCabe with his right, and it's McCabe, and it's palmed away brilliantly by Brendan Clark, taking no chances, made sure it went away from the danger area. Good save, good shot.
Yeah, hit the target, make the keeper make a save. Easy for him, keeper's side, and a good palm, strong hand.
Still plenty of time for dramatic things to happen at the showgrounds. And what's been a pulsating match. Blinkhorn with a great ball to find Doyle. Look at him bursting forward for Sligo. If he can get the cross to the far post. Doyle going for goal. Oh, that was selfish. The early ball, and Dillon was at the far post, but by cutting inside, he's lost the chance.
Bang on. I mean, great little touch by Blinkhorn. Doyle is, and he's looking up, which is even worse. I mean, he keep looking up, and Dillon is on the far post, all alone. Doyle is taking it inside, and that's just poor. And there's Dillon with his hands in his head, and he gave it earlier. It was a great chance, wasted.
Stephen Rice did well to get back and cover for Shamrock Rovers. This game, rather than tightening up, is becoming more fluid by the minute. 7 minutes to go. 7 minutes for Shamrock Rovers to try and tie it up. The cross deflected, it's over the head of McCabe. Doyle with a lovely layoff to Green. Oh, beautiful ball into the path of Kirby, but Sivez was there for Rovers, but he can't find Rice, and now it's in Doe with Dillon to his right. Simple ball was on, Joseph took too much out of it, and now it's a free kick for the handball. The Shamrock Rovers player coming back, Billy Dennehy with a handball. Or was it Stephen Rice, in fact? Yes, here it is. Rice with the handball, and it's a free kick to Sligo. Cross from Doe, down goes Doyle. He's up again, Doyle! Oh, it's over the bar! What a chance for Sligo. Their top scorer, Owen Doyle, couldn't add to his 13 goals this season.
Switched off, Sivez dead. Great little ball in by Endo. He slipped in on Doyle, got it wrong, and then trying to get a strike. But it was just, look, there you go again, he's come inside. Wrong studs. And he's just flicked it over the top, and another great chance.
Well, what a game we've had in the last 10 minutes. Pat Sullivan smashing the ball out of play so that Alan Manus can get on with the other ball. Just over 5 minutes to go. And after 4 wins against Sligo this season, Shamrock Rovers perhaps heading to their first defeat to the Northwest club since the Cup final. Of course, they'll claim that wasn't a defeat because it went to penalties, but I think you'll find that the FAI Cup is residing at the moment in somebody's home here in Sligo. Yeah. Keane sends it away, but Sullivan has it for Rovers. Over the head of Pears, but the flick on straight to Brendan Clark. The latest scores elsewhere: St. Pat's 0, Bray 0, Bows 2, Drogheda 0, Dundalk 5, Galway 1, and UCD 1, Derry City 0. So Derry City look like they won't profit from perhaps Shamrock Rovers falling to their 3rd defeat of the season. Here's Ndo. Dillon. Keane up the line for Kirby. How does he always find space? Wonderful play again. Dillon, great chance. Completely miskicked it. Another opener for Sligo, and really they might rue the fact that they haven't put this away. 86th minute, and it's John Russell, the Scouser, who's going to come on. And Alan Kirby, what a game he has played. He's got to be one of your contenders for man of the match. Kirby, the veteran now, playing a superb midfield game.
Yeah, he's worked very, very hard. You can see the Sligo fans appreciate him as well. I mean, he's getting a standing ovation coming off the pitch, which is very, very unusual to see that in games, and that's a fantastic achievement for him at the age he's at. And you know, you've got John Russell coming in, so you can see that, like, Sligo have strength and depth as well. And as you said, the chances that they've had, it could have been 2 or 3-0 tonight, because they've really destroyed Rovers, in my view, especially with ball retention and overall football.
McCabe in receipt of the header from Twig, and taking on Green with the cross is decent. Kilduff chance, great block by Pears. Chested down by Ryan, and Clark grateful to pick it up and just run off a few more seconds. But that was a wonderful chance for Rovers.
Absolutely switched off, Gulduff, and it's Pears at the back, has hit it with his knee, so it's a great block, and it's just a little switch off. McCabe has come in, pulled the ball back. Kilduff has got a bit of space, and it's a good save by Pears.
That ball was heading inside the right hand post. No question it was on target, so Gavin Pearce, who's got the goal that separate the sides, perhaps preventing Shamrock Rovers from getting back on terms. 3 minutes to go. Richie Ryan chasing McGuinness over the top. McCormick wants Alan Manus to come to it, and eventually he picks it up. Rovers sending everybody forward. They've got 5 in a line up front. It's like an old-fashioned strike force.
Yeah, send them all up. They have to.
Twig beaten by McGuinness. The problem with having 5 up front is, though, you've got nobody to win it in the middle, and you just end up plumping it long, which makes it much easier for the defence.
It's 1-5-5 at the moment, I think, is the thing.
Finn beaten to it by Keane. McCormick wants it, but he's shown too much of that to Blinkhorn. Now in Doe. Great movement by Doyle. Lovely ball over the top for Dillon, who stayed onside. Lots forward here for Sligo. Dennehy was back to cover. Sligo Rovers fans in the far corner are furious. They think they should have got a free kick. Well, it's that time again, Pat, for your man of the match selection. Who's it to be?
Yeah, well, I think there's been a few contenders tonight, and they're all from Sligo. I mean, Pearce has been marvellous. Alan Kirby going off has been marvellous. But I mean, I have to give it to Joseph Endo, because I think he's just controlled the game. His passes, 1 or 2 have been bad, but most of them have been sublime. His ball for the corner kick has been brilliant, and overall he's been outstanding. So my electricity man of the match is Joseph Endo.
Ken Oman looking for Kilduff, beaten to it by Pearce. Ryan to Green. Dillon couldn't get there. Sives for Shamrock Rovers. It's almost desperation time now for the champions. Lost 2 games this season to Bray Wanderers. Could they be about to lose to another side? As McCormick has taken a knock. He was hit late after clearing that ball away. Maybe caught somewhere around the ankle. There you see it. It was Dillon who came through and just, well, I think he went through on Conor McCormick, and he certainly felt that under his shin pad.
Yeah, it's just a bit sore. It's one of those nasty ones that you just get back underneath the ankle, and there's no protection there from the shin pad. But again, what you saw was both Dillon and Russell, 2 subs who've come on, have gone to close McCormick in the 86th, 87th minute, which shows you the intensity that they want to do to try and win this game, and that's what Paul Cook has instilled tonight, and they need to carry this on for the rest of the season now, Sligo.
Shamrock Rovers with the throw in as McCormick is off the pitch. Rovers have already used their 3 substitutes, so he'll have to come back on. The long ball sent forward. McGuinness couldn't get there. Sives battling away with Blinkhorn, who was back to cover, and that's great defending by a centre forward. Sligo have been so hungry. They have hunted in packs. They have played the better football, and they are deserving winners should they hold out for the final 3 minutes. We're into the added 3.
I just think they've been fantastic, and I think it's been a very, very good game of football, and I still don't think it's over. I still think there might be another little chance in this.
Blinkhorn with a lovely touch, 1-2 with Russell. On it goes Dillon. Look at Doyle through the centre. He stayed onside. He's got behind Oman. Can he finish here? It's a brilliant second goal for Owen Doyle, and Sligo have won this one for sure. What a goal, what a finish. The champions are a busted flush, and Sligo Rovers, the bitter red, are on the way to closing the gap at the top.
Absolutely marvellous, great football, lovely ball inside, total composure and putting the ball into the back of the net. And I mean, look at that, it's a gorgeous ball. Split Rovers open, and he's totally calm, knocked it around. And I think what's marvellous about it all is the celebration after. It was the fans who wanted to come onto the pitch, and the whole dugout went onto the pitch. Marvellous.
12th league goal this season for Owen Doyle, who is in dreamland. His finest season by far. The former Shamrock Rovers schoolboy does it against his old club, and Sligo Rovers have that 2-goal cushion. No way for Rovers to come back now with 91 minutes gone, and referee Anthony Buttimer needs to have attention for the net. That's why we can't kick off, because in all that excitement, somehow or other the net has come away from the post. What a win for Paul Cook. This his 4th season in the showgrounds, a man who is so popular in these parts, and why not? All the passion he displays transmits itself in the dressing room. And despite the fact that Jerry Carr is a huge part of the coaching operation, Cook is the one who gets most of the accolades. That's why the net came apart, because Pat Sullivan pulled it down. So we're going to have a delay here as Alan Manus tries to use his 6'3" to get up to the crossbar.
Look, I mean, in the whole 90 minutes that we've seen tonight, or 93 minutes, I just think Sligo Rovers have been wonderful. They've played lovely football. They've kept it, even when the wind has come up. They've just been excellent. They've had an awful lot of chances, and I mean, you know, they're summing it all up. They're getting into a party atmosphere up here now because they've been wonderful tonight, and they just need to carry it forward, though, Stephen. Just like they carried away. We've beaten the league champions, but we've done nothing. We've only got 3 points, and let's move on.
A solution to the problem, we'll find somebody light enough to be lifted to fix the net. Pantomime in the showgrounds at the end of what's been a really pulsating second half. It might have lacked a little bit in the first half, but this second half has been quite superb. I wonder, does this lad know exactly what he's doing?
Well, let me put it this way. Do you think he'd be a son of a fisherman if he'd be getting the tape out? I don't think so. I think he's a bit struggling there now trying to put that in. And here we go. No, he's out. Get the bench in.
We've got the real men in now. This guy does it for fun. Well, Michael O'Neill, whose side only won the championship on the final day last year. Many people think he's got, without doubt, the strongest squad in the competition, but he keeps changing his side. There's no settled composure about the way they play, and now they're falling down to another defeat, their third of the season, and 2 home draws recently. Could this be a turning point in the championship race?
I just think tonight they've been outplayed, and I think, you know, at the start, I mean, they played 4-5-1, so when the team sheet comes into Sligo Rovers dressing room and they see Rovers playing one up front, they're saying, right, we get the ball and we dictate the midfield and we'll control the game. And unfortunately, it started off with Sligo having total control of the game, and they just carried on and they never let off. And to be honest, they could have 2 or 3 more.
Here are the goals at the start of the contest. Gavin Pearce with the first. An easy header because Shamrock Rovers were just ball watching, and then this wonderful second goal. Beautiful composure. Owen Doyle tucks it away. Goal number 14 of the season for him. And Sligo Rovers, well, all they've got to do now is get that final minute and a half out of the way, because although we've played 4.5 minutes of stoppage time, we only have about a minute and a half left of real playing time, and Shamrock Rovers will surely not be able to get a second goal even if they got a first. So away we go. A long delay after a sumptuous second goal, and it's Sullivan trying to get forward, but he can't get past Aaron Green. That was a good tackle, foot on the ball. Great commitment by Sligo. Cleared away by Dillon. Very similar to the cup final this game. Shamrock Rovers have been outplayed.
They have been outplayed, and I mean, like, we looked at the semi-final as well, when at the time Sligo Rovers went up and played Bows, who were the league champions then, and they played them off the park. So he's got a fabulous footballing squad here, and they just need to not get carried away and build on this. That's the main thing.
McGuinness gets it away to Blinkhorn. Holding off Ken O'Mann, went down a bit too easily for my liking, but he's got the free kick, and you can see Ken O'Mann wasn't too happy with that. Needs to be careful. We don't need this game to finish with the wrong type of spirit and atmosphere, because it's been a good football match, and Ken O'Mann has lost his composure here. Bad sportsmanship on the part of the former Bohemians player, and he's going to get a yellow card for his trouble.
It's stupid. I mean, look, the game is over. There's been a bit of afters. You know, he's fouled Blinkhorn. Blinkhorn's getting a card for probably unsportsmanlike conduct to go back to Ken O'Mann. And Ken O'Mann has fouled him, but Blinkhorn is coming back up now, and still smiling. Here it is again. I mean, he's pushed him. Look, there he's going down easy enough, so realistically it's a soft free kick. And then he starts, here you go, there's the little unsportsmanlike conduct, so that's where the yellow card has come from.
Well, my apologies to Ken O'Mann, because it was obviously Matthew Blinkhorn who instigated all of that, and he's the one who went in the book. The third Sligo player, 7th yellow card of the evening. It hasn't been a dirty game by any means. We've only seconds to go at the showgrounds. A famous victory coming up for Paul Cook's Sligo Rovers. Shamrock Rovers beaten comprehensively by a wonderful footballing performance from the Northwest Challengers. They haven't won the league since the late 1970s when Paul McGee was the player. It's Sligo Rovers night, and Michael O'Neill acknowledges that. the sporting man. He's seen his side lose to a Sligo team that have had their 6th home win in a row. Sligo within 2 points of the top now, and it was Gavin Pear's goal that separated the sides. The final score on the showgrounds, Owen Doyle of course getting the second. The final score on the showgrounds, Sligo Rovers 2, Shamrock Rovers 0.
Yes, so victory at the showgrounds this evening for Sligo Rovers, and the way things are shaping up in the other matches in the Airtricity League Premier Division, it could be St Pat's who top the table. They currently lead by a 1-0 against Bray Wanderers, so it's very tight over at Richmond Park, but they're on the verge of picking up 3 points. But overall, Johnny, as far as you're concerned, Sligo Rovers deserving of the 3 points there this
I
evening.
think so. From maybe 10 minutes into the first half all the way through, controlled the game, played really good football, really good football to watch, and a lot of energy about the team. Joseph got man of the match. I think any one of the players could have got man of the match, but definitely Joseph and Alan Kirby really good for the team tonight. But they controlled the game really well, passed it, switched the play. They had Rovers running around the pitch, but well deserved victory. Michael
O'Neill made the substitutions that many would have anticipated, but it really didn't have the impact that the Shamrock Rovers manager would have wanted.
No, he didn't. I mean, Rowan Finn didn't have any impact in the first half. I don't think Gary Twigg got a touch of the ball when he came on in the second half. So you like your substitutes to make some impact into the game. But in fairness to Sligo, for a period of 5 minutes in the second half, Rovers had a bit of the play and they defended really well.
Yeah, and it was Joseph Endo who got the man of the match, and right now he's with John Kenny.
Yes, Paul Bean of Airtricity is going to present the Man of the Match award to Joseph Endo. Well done, Joseph. And Paul, just hand the trophy over to him. Joseph, terrific game for you tonight. Voted the Man of the Match. Was that the most impressive display from Sligo Rovers this season?
I think it's one of the most, but this year our goal is simple. We're going to fight for every title, every trophies. And tonight we have to, because Shams are the champion. So if you want to be the champion, you have to beat them too.
Nice football as well from your team tonight. Kept the ball on the deck a lot, and that must have pleased you as a player who likes to play the ball across the deck.
I think that's why they call football.
It is. It was a good game of football as well tonight as well for the watching viewers tonight.
Yeah, of course. I think, and it's a great thing for the Airtricity. I think we have a great player here, and it's just the belief the player has to have to bring people more fun in the stadium.
All right, thanks for joining us, Joe. That's Joseph Endo. Peter, the man of the match.
Yes, congratulations to Joseph Endo, the Airtricity man of the match this evening. He really contributed to Sligo Rovers' victory. And let's just show you now how it stands in the other games. Remember, there are around 10 minutes left at the other venues. All those other matches kicked off at 7:45. So Bohemians leading Drogheda United now by 2-0. Christy Fagan and Anto Flood, the Bohemian scorers. The troubles continue for Galway United on and off the pitch. Dundalk 6, Galway United 1 at the moment. St Pat's have that very slender advantage over Bray Wanderers, and the fans down at Richmond Park will be willing those last few minutes away, because if it remains that way, St Pat's will top the table. And at the moment, well, Derry City getting a real test over at the UCD Bowl. UCD 2, Derry City 2, and Derry have had to come from behind twice. And if it remains that way, Sligo Rovers will move into 3rd position ahead of Derry City. So it's been a dramatic evening in the Airtricity League Premier Division. Sligo Rovers have taken the spoils at the showgrounds, and Shamrock Rovers look like they're slipping to 2nd place tonight. From Johnny and myself, and from all the team here, a very good evening to you.